rose to was the fact that he had been working with council officers over the 12-month period. I understand that you're saying there's a whole other thing, but I don't, and I understand that's part of the normal process. So, you know, that kind of happens. I don't like it, but it happens. What I don't understand is why those council staff don't have a vision that belongs to our vision about what that development is. You know, why aren't they saying to these developers, look, we don't think that's in keeping. We don't think that's what the residents of King's Cross would want.
Yeah. I totally empathise with what you're saying. The challenge we have, that staff have, and that's the difference between planning staff and political members like I am, is, you know, we're here, the political representatives, your representatives, we're here to represent that idea of what is the community interest, the character of the place, that sort of soft, you know, so-called soft character of a place. Planners have to, they either decide something is compliant or it's not compliant. They're given much less discretion when it comes to the implementation in the beginning. So in the beginning you can say this is what is compliant, the height levels that you're allowed to have, the number of floors that you're able to have, whether you can have an overrun, how much setback you need from the road, all of that, you know, how much solar access. Those are the elements that a development must be compliant with in order to submit a complying DA. It's then the next phase of that when you're able to take on board community submissions, or as the sort of political representatives make comments as to whether something's in keeping or not. But there isn't anything in the LEP, for example, in the local environment plan, that says the character of King's Cross is XYZ, or the character of this place is this other thing. So that's something that's more nuanced, I think, than whether it's compliant or not.
I think what I'm saying to you, and I think what others are saying to you, please tell Clover Moore that we want a vision. We want you to be the board, the governing board for those staff. And we want you to paint a vision to those people so that they know that that council has that vision and that's what they're doing.
Absolutely, and I agree with you, and that's why councils should retain the authority to approve or modify developments.
It has to start early.
But at the moment, because of the local planning committee panels, or the IHAPs, that power's been taken away from local
No, that's only happened in the last little while. Council has been in control of this whole planning process to now. Why do we not have a decent plan of management that reflects what our vision is for different developments, including this development? This is where we've gone wrong.
The city does have a vision for, and it's our community strategic plan. It's a sustainable city 2030. Within that, we have a definition of the city of villages, and each village does have its own character. And there is, for example, you mentioned this idea of contributory heritage. There are areas that are conservation zones, so anywhere that you see terraces, for example, that's a conservation area. There are different rules about what can happen in different places because of the existing heritage. But when it comes down to the individual decisions that planners have to make, they don't have the authority, we don't have the authority as a local government. It's a state planning law that decides that something is compliant or not compliant. It's then up to your representatives and to the public to say it's compliant, it's just not very good, and we can make it better. And that's what we do. And one of the things that we're proudest of, particularly as part of Clover's team, is that design excellence and public amenity and sustainability are our key drivers. That's our major focus.
This has been through the pre-DA process of council.
Yeah.
What is the planner's attitude to the proposal that is before?
So the pre-DA process is not a formal process. What the pre-DA process is saying, it's a discussion where you say, this would be compliant, but have you thought about X, Y, Z? Of course, every time we get a development...
This is not a compliant
It
development.
is close to... Look, I don't know. I'm not going to
the same company bought all of those buildings from individuals. I know that there was an 84-year-old woman who sold the tobacconist, for example. They were individuals. Surely the council must have known something was up.
Yeah.
You know, like no one buys all of those buildings without something being up. So what is the council doing for us?
Nothing.
All those people are individuals. All those people independents are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah. Selling us
I think
out.
we need to take that as a comment.
My name's Neville Buchanan. I'd like to
Neville,
ask,
you really need to come out the front.
you'll be able to hear me. I've only
shut
got a few words to say. The 40-year-old resident, I think David was his name, he made some good comments as far as we may have to go forward on this. Now, if the council submits something of this rubbish that's been put before us, and there's so much, is this all going to be modified before it goes to the planning committees? Because what's the use of handing this out and someone says, oh yeah, that looks good for Potts Point, King's Cross, then it just may slip through. But it's going to be an awful design. So is anything happening? Where's the councillor?
So the council hasn't submitted this. This is what the developer has submitted to council. This is what the developer would like. What we're seeing here is a submission from the developer. It's not from the council.
But are you going to ask the developer to make big changes and he's got to redesign?
Based on public feedback, council staff will make recommendations and the design advisory panel. There'll be recommendations and conditions on the design,
Right.
so that the developer will have to submit, is likely to have to submit. All of this, of course, is based up subject to the determination of the staff and based on public feedback. They will have to redesign. It's very likely that they will have to
Now,
redesign.
that planning committee, is that March?
The planning committees begin in March, but I can't tell you when this will come to a committee because it's based on the feedback that the design advisory panel provides, and also the amount of submissions that come from the public and the number of changes and how long it takes them to redesign.
Yes.
These things take time, as you know.
Yes, I can't see how this can all happen by
I don't
the
think
1st of
it'll
March.
happen by then, no.
No.
That's
Okay.
but what I'm saying is that's when the IHAPs begin. That's when they come into effect in City Sydney.
Oh, and I'd like to support the lady up here that was saying very much the same thing. You know, things have got to be changed before it goes to anyone.
I'm a resident, and in a way, this is not to do with the NIMBY. This is not to do with the NIMBY complex. I'm a resident of Kingsley Hall, and one of the things that's bothering me about the whole thing, and in terms of what's going on with the opposition, is Kingsley Hall is being forgotten. Kingsley Hall is an Art Deco building of historic intent. If one looks at it from the size, you can relate it to the Flatiron Building in New York. It's a beautiful building, and it's one of the last remnants of what was King's Cross. What is going to happen is all the buildings around it are going to be taken away from it. If you go and stand in front of Blake's Pharmacy and have a look, you will see that that building is actually pressed right close to it, really joining Kingsley Hall. When they go to demolish all of that, Kingsley Hall is going to be left exposed by itself with nothing to support it at all. Beside it, there's going to be at least a 9-metre hole dug, plus 1.5 metres for the lift well. 10.5 metre hole will be dug beside it. So the integrity of that building is under incredible threat, and yet it's not mentioned at all. And on top of that, if you have a look at this, of the pictures there, you'll see where the flats come up at the moment, where Blake's Pharmacy is, it comes up to about our 3rd floor. When they put it in, it's going to go right up, it's going to go right up to the 8th floor. We're going to lose all our windows and all the light wells, all the way down. That is the most important building in that area, and yet it's being completely ignored and forgotten about. Let's remember.
Patrick from Potts Point, King's Cross. Andrew, we've seen these kinds of DAs before, although not maybe on this scale, where they've proposed things with their design excellence, suggesting it was on par with the Parthenon, or we could see right through it. Do you feel in your gut that we are up for a fight with this one, either with council, at a council level, or with state government?
The question is, do I feel as though we're up for a big fight against state government and council with this, and this is the best that it's working to me. My gut tells me that this is going to a tsunami and will create a revolt in the area and probably across New South Wales. We are fighting council, who will then be fighting for us, hopefully, at these IHAP panels, and that means that we'll be fighting the state government. So we need to start thinking eventually about how we're going to approach Gladys and the planning minister. But also, I'm afraid I've got some more bad news for you. Don't forget that sites like the Empire and the Bourbon have lodged between them over 20 amended DAs. Once the DA is lodged, and I'm very hopeful that Jessica Scully's cloud vision or hope that we may see an amended DA will come up, that doesn't mean that even if whatever's approved is approved, there won't be further amended DAs. So we are in a long haul fight here, and I feel very secure that with the presence of the people and the strength of the community behind us, we can win this for our advantage.
Right, we're going to move on to these resolutions, these motions. Is it the feeling of the meeting that you want to go on with these? Yes. Okay, all right. We have the proposed development number 1, you can read. Yes. Don't need to call it out. Is there a mover for that motion? Yeah, and a seconder? Mover and seconded. Is there any discussion? No. Putting it to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Carried unanimously. Calling on council to require the developer to withdraw. Yes. Is anybody against? And the site constraints, including Kingsbury Hall, and has approved level frontage with the buses, etc. Mover, second all in favour. Anyone against? Carried unanimously. And the last one, the local plan for King's Cross. We have a mover, seconder. All those in favour? Anyone against? Carried unanimously. Now, the last thing, the most important thing, is to get those submissions in. There's nothing more important. And if you only put in a couple of lines, if that's all you think that you are able to contribute, put it in. You're good enough, you know enough,